What is it that makes blowing up stuff so satisfying for the human brain? Extra points, of course, if there are no consequences. For you, just obliterating an entire building complex. While this may not be a very realistic scenario for our real-life aspirations, all of this and actually much more is possible in Teardown. Or, to be upfront with you, all of this is Teardown. This voxel-styled game has, as you have likely figured out for yourself by now, probably the most realistic destruction and especially fire physics. We'll talk about this particularly cool aspect in a moment. From any game available right now. At least I am not aware of any game without mods where the destruction physics are on this level, with the exception of Beam and G Drive, but that's limited to destroying vehicles. I believe this to be even more impressive when thinking about that this was accomplished by an incredibly small indie studio. Teardown is a shining example of what indie games can achieve. Not just indie games, but also the huge potential of AAA games. Now we'll start off with the basics, but as we're getting deeper into the video, we'll talk about the few changes and enhancements the developer implemented that ultimately led to its huge success and overwhelmingly positive reviews. At the core of this game lies of course its satisfying and rewarding destruction system. If what you have seen by now doesn't look cool or appealing to you, this game probably isn't for you. If the footage I presented you with does on the other hand make you very curious, absolutely continue watching this video. I'm certain you will not regret it. The atmospheric voxel world is almost fully destructible and semi-realistically reacts to your choices and their consequences. We'll talk about the almost part more specifically in a bit. Now, to actually start destroying things, you have two options. You can either start the campaign, or you can start obliterating whatever you want to obliterate, with all the tools immediately unlocked and at your disposal. Let's take a look at the campaign first, because it is actually very decent and sometimes hilarious. Yes, I was also surprised that that's possible in a voxel-styled destruction-focused game. You're running a demolition company, and due to financial struggles, you're starting to accept questionable and not quite legal jobs. After getting the unwanted attention from a police officer, you become entangled between helping the police to avoid criminal prosecution and accepting further dubious assignments for easy money that you can spend on upgrading your tools. The story is told through voiceless emails with character portraits, and to be honest, for this kind of game that's sufficient in my opinion. The conversations are often fun and hilarious to read. The TV news report upon each successful mission completion is also a nice way to present the player with some lore and the aftermath. In most missions you need to steal or destroy objects, usually connected to a security alarm. You have an unlimited amount of time to prepare a path that allows you to complete your mission objective. Once the alarm is triggered, however, you have 60 seconds to collect or destroy everything you need and make it to your escape vehicle in time. So it's all about thorough and long preparations and a fast and efficient escape. This is honestly much more fun than it may sound on paper, because the game forces you to be creative and think outside the box. If you're just going in without a plan, then 60 seconds isn't nearly enough to complete your objective, not even in the earlier missions. The game absolutely invites you to be experimental, with the option to quick save and quick load at any time, and doesn't dictate you one solution or one possible path. You will forge your own path, with clever destruction, planning, and creativity. And if you're totally not into this heist gameplay style, then it's absolutely fine. Teardown has a lot more to offer with its sandbox mode, which I think is safe to say is the heart of the game for many players. Sandbox mode is simple. You will feel like a god. Destroy stuff as much as you want, with no consequences, no alarms, unlimited ammo and time. If the pretty destructive stuff that's already in the game isn't enough for you, you can choose from a seemingly endless stream of community mods that come in form of maps, scenarios, and of course, weapons. This goes as far as nuclear strikes or asteroids. The modding support is an integral part of the game, and one of the reasons why the game became so big in the first place. With all of that said, it's time to talk about what makes all of this actually fun to do. The realistic physics in this game. Like all things, they're not perfect, and we'll get to that. but they're still the best I've ever seen. Again, with the exception of BeamNG Drive. Fire and smoke spreads in a realistic, comprehensible way and affects materials based on their composition and nature. Explosions feel especially meaty, thanks to the collateral damage system. Now, smaller buildings or objects do appear to have structural integrity, like the small wood tower at Lee Chemicals. But actual houses or big buildings will only have a limited amount of structural integrity. At least that's how I would describe it. This is especially noticeable when an entire building complex is refusing to crumble into pieces, because there is one single voxel left that's holding up the entire structure. I am pretty sure that this was done to prevent game-breaking performance issues on the consumer side. I run a 4090, but when I really give it my everything and destroy an entire map with my modded arsenal, even that PC cannot keep up with all the stuff that needs to be calculated, it seems. This is a game for 30 euros that's currently on sale and costs 22 euros on Steam. This video is not sponsored. I just like to support indie game studios and bring you games that I think are worth the price tag. This is definitely one of them. If blowing up stuff in video games is remotely something that entertains you. If this video was helpful, a like is appreciated. See ya!